Hello, seventh grade. Happy Tuesday morning. It's still Monday afternoon for me, so let's get right in the pod, shall we? As you know, today we started our third trimester. Good chance to turn over a new leaf and build some momentum and do some better work in terms of grades or learning, whatever you want to do this try. Great opportunity to start over. Remember that if you want to make change requests, you have to do so by the end of this week. And remember, as Mrs. Nybar gets lots and lots of those, some of them can't be honored. Some requests are just not going to work for us. So it's kind of crazy. We've got this far, this fast in the school year. So let's finish strong in this third try, shall we? Speaking of coming along, the health district locally has moved us to the green area of safety protocols for COVID-19. It's been since September that we were in green. We've been in some shade or version of yellow for a long time. So really good job getting this far. I feel like our students and families have helped us distancing, staying home when they're sick. Remember, under green specifications, still need to bring your mask to school every day. It's a teacher's choice to require that in their classroom. I saw a lot of you guys wearing them today. I think most teachers are going to have some form of them. We'd hate to backslide, hey, as we've come this far of getting rid of this darn thing and getting the pandemic over with, that we don't want to just go too fast with these things. So bring your mask and be respectful. And I've heard at least one student who today was just really respectful about one teacher's wishes for wanting to continue with mask wearing in our classroom. So thanks you guys for being so cooperative when it comes to that. Appreciate it. Getting involved. So over the weekend, I had a chat with some friends and just talking about how there's plenty of kids in our school and in the greater American Falls area who, for whatever reason, don't get involved in extracurriculars like band or choir or drama or our various sports teams that we offer. I don't know if I've told your grade before. Sorry, a long Monday here. That I feel like if you go through all of your middle school and into high school and you never do anything but just your regular classes, I feel like your education's still good, but somewhat incomplete. Okay, I think that extracurriculars add something really essential to your school experience. Obviously, the learning that occurs in the classroom is most important, but the lessons and the camaraderie you can gain by joining a group and being part of something that's bigger than yourself, so huge, so huge. So tracks going on right now. You can still probably get into the spring musical. We got all sorts of different situations coming up. Join band, join choir. Hey, look out for next fall's sports teams. Get involved. Okay, and if you're already involved, good for you. But let's get more people involved. Often just walking down the hallways, I can see that we need more people out there find something you like. Doesn't have to be something specific, but don't miss out on those opportunities. All right. Next, speaking of opportunities, Pride Week. The opportunity is for you to finally be our current eighth graders who are on a bit of a winning streak when it comes to these things. All right. Student council and I are meeting tomorrow to finalize all of our dress up days and times and lunchtime contests. So that news will be coming soon, but just know, I don't know what happened here. The H and the 1 seem to blend together. March 15th through the 18th, the last week before spring break, it's on. It's Pride Week. You'll once again get a free shirt. That's why homeroom teachers are getting shirt sizes together real quick for us. And one of the highlights of the year for sure. So let's get hyped, y'all. All right. Last week, we introduced a new unit, the fourth and final unit of this second step curriculum that you guys are helping us try out this year. And they're focusing in this unit on managing relationships and peer conflicts. So last week, we actually, before we got into conflicts, I just tried to remind you that your relationships are so important. Hey, and sure, people think relationship, they sometimes go straight to romantic relationship, but there's many different types of relationships. Okay, so cherish your friends, your family, even the hopefully positive relationship you have with school staff. Those are good things. And this is a quote that I just said or wrote last week, and people sometimes tell you like, oh, life is all about who you know. I don't think so. Okay, that can be helpful, but success in life is not determined by who you know, but if the people you do know like and respect you, that sure can help. All right, they can just be a source of comfort, support, humor, certainly. And then if you have a good rapport with people and you need something, they'll be ready to help you. Okay, so before we start getting into conflicts, which we will today, I just want you to think, hey, let's try to avoid those altogether and really take care of. And we had that picture of the relationship bank account. Make those deposits today. All right. So today we'll talk briefly about, before we determine how to stop this, why exactly do conflicts escalate? Why do things escalate quickly, like they did in this movie right here, which is called Anchorman, which is silly but also hilarious. So here's some reasons why in the second step lesson, in terms of why conflicts may escalate. Get out of the way there, guy. So, like I said in the intro, what are some common reasons why a thing that could be a common misunderstanding or not a big deal gets a little blown out of proportion and can lead to some not so good conflicts? For a while, I couldn't tell what the conflict was here, but it says, would you go to an adult for help in this situation? I thought I was supposed to click on something to pop up. But if you look, I'm assuming, I couldn't find anything to the contrary, that this dude accidentally knocked the calculator of his neighbor off. And hey, look at that. It must be a high school. It looks like she's getting ready to film something silly. Would you go to an adult for help in this situation? I don't think this is escalated. This is a minor thing. Knock the calculator off. Maybe you would, but most people don't ask for help, whether from its adult or not, unless it gets kind of a big deal. So let's define these things, right? Major versus minor. What's the difference between these things, these social conflicts? I know I deal with a lot of them as principal, and a lot of things stay minor. This is things that we don't call home about and may have a brief talk to you, but often you guys figure these out on your own. It doesn't even go to a teacher or myself. So minor conflicts are generally easier to resolve or fix and don't cause long-term physical or emotional harm. That's a big thing. Okay, if I can't just say, hey, this kid walked by and punched you in the face several times. Can't you figure out this conflict on your own? There could be some long-term physical, even emotional harm there. Okay, so small things that aren't going to impact you that you can usually figure out on your own. Major conflicts, harder to resolve, harder to come to a solution, have serious consequences, and can cause physical or emotional harm. These are going to be, I don't know about common, but they're going to happen to you in life. These we need to try to avoid for sure. So let's figure out what can take a minor conflict into a major one, shall we? It tells us, thank you, directions, to click the white dots to reveal some common reasons conflicts in middle school can escalate to something major. So what's going on here? Well, making assumptions, automatically thinking someone has negative intentions. Hey, you bumped into me, you did it on purpose. I walked by and you gave me a look. Oh, the looks, guys, the looks. Part of my life in middle school is girls and boys sometimes tell me I'm so mad at them because they gave me a look. Actually, my daughter talked about this the other day, and I said, people looked at you, okay? But sometimes people look at you because you walked by them. You might glance because someone's walking by you. So never, and sometimes people, there's legit dirty looks, don't get me wrong, but don't assume, don't automatically go to the assumption that they mean you harm or they want to be mean. Not managing your emotions. So losing your cool and not being able to calm down. We talked about emotions in our last unit and coping strategies. So a little bit of frustration boils over to anger, and that can cause some serious problems here. Jumping to conclusions, not having enough information about a situation, but making a decision about it anyways, not dissimilar from this one that we already talked about, okay, making assumptions. So you're saying, oh, he must have done this on purpose, or it was him. Maybe he didn't even know it was him. And then this last one, involving others. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. When you involve other people, they can sometimes say or do things that make the conflict worse. Big ones, major conflicts, maybe even moving towards fights, often have multiple people involved that were encouraging it or were being messengers. And I get frustrated with those people too. So when you grab somebody else and say can become a big deal, other people are talking about it, and then it kind of feeds into emotions too. So those are some common reasons why things might escalate. All right, let's try to stop the escalation here. Troy and Jenny are experiencing an escalating conflict. Read each scene on your handout. And I didn't give you a handout, but I'll help you. Put a check mark next to anything the characters do or say that escalates the conflict. Determine the reasons and the conflict escalated and explain your reasoning. Oh, we may actually need the worksheet for this. Oh, no, this will be good. Troy and Jenny decide to work together on a science project. They agree on the tasks. So far, so good. They'll each do over the weekend. But on Monday, Troy says he wasn't able to do his task. Jenny is really upset. I bet you just went out and had fun while I stayed in and worked, she says. Troy gets really angry. She didn't even ask why I couldn't do it, he says to himself. Do you see any reasons why this may have escalated? One of the reasons we talked about. So Troy may share in the responsibility. He didn't fulfill his responsibility to get this aspect of the project done. But look at Jenny. Ooh, emotions maybe not managed. I bet you just went out and had fun while I stayed and worked. Did she just jump to conclusions, make an assumption? Yes, Mr. Schaefer. Hey, I heard you guys through time and space and the internet. Thank you for answering me. I bet you just went and had fun while I stayed and worked. That's an assumption. And sometimes people don't like that when they get these faulty assumptions that maybe Troy had stuff going on. She didn't even ask why I couldn't do it, he says to himself as things start escalating, right? Spot the escalation. Where do we find out? To escalate the conflict in scenes 2, 3, and 4. The reason for reasoning. Maybe I should find the worksheet, but it's a little too far back there. But let's just say that it escalated to sometimes people say things that hurt someone's feelings. It could, and that's kind of a sliding scale, right? Words, feelings, then we get to actions and fighting and saying mean things. And so when you do that, watch out. Let's just go back to those 4 that I think are here. Excuse me. We had making assumptions, not managing our emotions, involving others, and jumping to conclusions. Because those are the real reasons that things that really don't need to be a big deal can become a big deal. And I think I had one more slide somewhere for us to think about on our way out of here. And it's from one of, if not my favorite book, and one of my favorite characters of all time. Better be, because his name is my first son's middle name. And to explain the quote takes a little bit of context because it's at the end of the book. But Atticus is telling his daughter, Scout, who's the narrator of the book, who's been through an experience of perspective taking, that she assumed this character, Boo Radley, was one thing and learned that he was something else in the end. And this is towards the very end on the last page. And he tells her, if you really look at somebody and see things from their point of view, most people are good, Scout, once you finally see them. Okay. And this made me think of jumping to conclusions, where sometimes in being young is being a little bit insecure and thinking that all the time, oh, they did that because they don't like me, or that teacher gave me the grade because they think I should flunk. I'm worried about this not turning off. Okay, it's working all right. So just know that, yes, there's not great people in the world, and sometimes people are mean to you, but you don't have to jump to that conclusion. So watch out for those 4 things: jumping to conclusions, not managing emotions, involving other people, and making assumptions. And maybe we can keep small conflicts small, and we'll talk about strategies to do that in more detail next week. Thanks, guys.